Asanteni sana na mbarikie. The TSC directors present. I know we have a lot of activities still going on up to 23rd. So we appreciate the ones who are present. We have representatives of the security agents. Asanteni sana mbarikiwe. Representatives from the security agencies that are around here. Karibuni na mbarikiwe. Do we have representatives of the Kcpe Marking Center organizers? Karibuni. Msikie mko nyumbani. I know majority could be in the field, but staff of the Kenya National Examinations Council who are here. Mkaribishe wageni, please be upstanding. Yes, mbarikiwe. And we have all our invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, mjisikie mko nyumbani. At this point, and you know, I'm wearing the smallest shoes around. I now wish to hand over to those who wear size 12 and above. So I now take this opportunity to welcome the CEO, Kenya National Examinations Council, Dr. David Njengere, to make his remarks and take over from there. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Mr. Uchich. The Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu. The Principal Secretary, State Department for Basic Education, Dr. Belio Kipsang. We are glad to have you back. The Principal Secretary, State Department for Higher Education and Research, Dr. Beatrice Inyangala. The Senator Education Standing Committee, Honorable Joe Nyoto. The Chairperson, NEC, Professor Julius Nyabundi. The CEO, Teacher Service Commission, Dr. Nancy Masheria. The Director, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Professor Charles Ongondo. Teachers' unions and associations represented here today. Council members, directors from the Ministry of Education headquarters, TSC directors present, representatives from security agencies, representatives of Kcpe Marking Center organizers, staff of the Kenya National Examinations Council, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I wish to take this opportunity on behalf of the management of the Kenya National Examinations Council to welcome you all to this very auspicious occasion in the NEC calendar of activities, which marks the release of the 2022 Kcpe examination result. I know that the 1.2 odd million candidates are anxiously waiting for their results, and therefore I will make my remarks brief so that we can proceed to the most important part of this program. But CS, allow me to mention that this Kcpe is the second last in the series of examinations at primary level as Kenya faces out the 844 system of education. So we only have one more Kcpe next year. I take this opportunity to thank all the field officers who rendered their services to ensure the successful administration of the examination. I wish to particularly thank center managers who hosted other examination centers. This improved efficiency in administration of. I thank all the agencies that partnered with NEC in monitoring administration of the examination. I also wish to appreciate the role played by members of the public and the media in ensuring responsible reporting and supporting the Council's initiative to deliver a fair and credible examination. NEC engaged the services of 5,692 examiners during marking of English composition and Kiswahili Insha answer scripts. I sincerely wish to thank and to appreciate all the examiners, center organizers who did this work in record time. Kindly let us applaud the examiners for insha and composition. They did an exemplary job. I would not like to forget my team members in KNEC for the various roles they played. CS this year has been an extremely challenging one for the KNEC staff because they have had to deliver 4 exams in 1 year. It has never happened before. So please, let's appreciate the KNEC staff for the dedication and the amount of time they put into this. KNEC remains committed to delivering credible examinations and to uphold integrity in the certification process. I call upon all candidates, parents, stakeholders, and the general public to exercise patriotism by desisting from attempts to cheat in examinations. CS, before I conclude, I would like to make some comments about Kcpe. As we are aware, the Kcpe examinations were administered concurrently with Kcpe summative exams for grade 6 learners. But following the recommendation of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms and the directive by His Excellency the President on domiciling of junior secondary school, and the fact that Kcpe will not be used for placement of learners, but for monitoring learner progress, KNEC will report on Kcpe at 3 levels as follows. There will be a report on individual learners for the summative assessment. There will be a school-specific report, and there will be a national report on school-based and summative assessments. The national report will provide feedback to education stakeholders on areas that require intervention. The report will indicate the proportion of learners at each of the performance levels per subject, where perhaps we need to do some interventions. The report will be very useful to the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, the Teacher Service Commission, and the Ministry of Education as we continue with the rollout of CBC. There will be a school-specific report whose scope will be limited to the individual schools. So each school will receive a specific report that delineates the areas that learners perhaps are having challenges so that they can continue in the journey of improvement. The learners will get individual learner reports, and all these are going to be uploaded on the school portals by 16th of January 2023. Finally, I wish to wish all the 2022 Kcpe examination candidates success in their next level of education. May I take this opportunity also to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a prosperous year 2023. It is now my duty to request the KNEC chairman, Professor Nyabundi, to make his remarks, and thereafter invite the CEO, Teacher Service Commission, to make her remarks, and then the PS will take over the program from that point. Professor Nyabundi, please.
The Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Education, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, the Principal Secretary, State Department of Basic Education, Dr. Belio Kipsang, the Principal Secretary, Higher Education and Research, Dr. Beatrice Inyangala, the Principal Secretary, Technical Vocational Education and Training, Dr. Esther Moria, who is not here with us, she's gone for other duties. The CEO, Teacher Service Commission, Dr. Nancy Macharia. The CEO, KNEC, Dr. David Njagere, who has given a very able presentation of the situation here today. KNEC Council members present, For the directors and other senior officers from Ministry of Education, directors and other senior officers from other ministries and Teacher Service Commission, representatives from teachers' unions, including NAT, Kcpe, Kcpe, the Kenya Private School Association, the Kenya National Parents and Teachers Association, the heads of Association for Primary and Secondary Education present, members of the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. I take this opportunity to welcome you all to this important occasion when we release the 2022 Kcpe examination results. The Cabinet Secretary, sir, allow me at this very early opportunity to introduce members of Kenya National Examinations Council who are here today. These include, of course, none other than the PS Education, Dr. Bello Kipsang, the CEO of TSC, Dr. Nancy Macharia, the Director of KSCD, Professor Charles Ongondo, the Director, Ministry of Education and Quality Assurance, Madam Evelyn Owoko, Mr. Festus Kingori from Treasury, Mrs. Rosemary Saina, Mr. Martin Okio, Professor Eric Ogur, Dr. Fred O. Potter, Colonel Leonard Owambo, and Arthur Kiragu. Last but not least, of course, is Dr. David Njagere. From the composition of this council, you can see the importance that the government places on examinations in this country. Mr. Cabinet Secretary, sir, the Kenya National Examinations Council has continuously upheld its commitment to ensure credibility of national exams. It is in this spirit that we wish to assure Kenyans that the 2022 Kcpe examination processes were carried out in a professional manner and in accordance with our regulations and procedures. As we stand here, therefore, the Council can confidently assure the public that the results that the candidates are about to receive are credible and are a true reflection of the candidates' individual performances and achievements. Notably, sir, the 2022 cohort of candidates marks the end of the compressed school year that was necessitated by the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. This was a difficult period, and while NEC has worked under constrained circumstances, it has been able to deliver the examinations, especially this series where the Tibet teachers and school examinations were running concurrently. So I want to appreciate the candidates, parents, and all stakeholders in the education sector for the understanding and patience that they have accorded NEC in the last 2 years as we worked to recover the school calendar. Gradually, from 2023, we will see the resumption of the normal school calendar. I wish to thank the Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, for the support and leadership he has provided to our team, which has enabled the Council to deliver its mandate, that is, delivering credible examinations. Sir, NEC has made strides in innovations and infrastructural development in its systems and processes to ensure resources are effectively utilized, enabling the Council to deliver credible national examinations to all the candidates in Kenya. I further take this opportunity to thank you, sir, for presiding over this auspicious occasion. I now wish to take the opportunity to wish all a Merry Christmas and Happy 2023, and to invite Dr. Macharia, the TSC CEO, to present her remarks.
The chief guest, who is also our cabinet secretary, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, the PSS present, Chair NEC, and colleague members in the council, the CEO NEC, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. What is it? Yeah. So, I am honored to speak today during this special event to celebrate our 1.2 million candidates who have qualified to joining Form 1 next year, having met all the conditions required under the Kcpe examinations. On behalf of the Teacher Service Commission, I congratulate the Kcpe class of 2022 for doing their part and securing their future. I also want to take this chance to thank all our teachers, both in public and private schools, supervision and marking of the examinations. Cabinet Secretary, sir, in the 2022 KCPE exercise, we had 28,408 center managers, 28,727 supervisors, 74,990 invigilators, and 5,647 examiners who did an exemplary job. I congratulate all the staff and encourage them to keep up with the good spirit in line with the Code of Regulation for Teachers. It is because of you teachers that the 2022 KCP class has performed well. As a commission, we thank the government for finding resources to allow us to recruit an average of 30,000 teachers in an exercise we are expected to conclude next month. I wish to urge all unemployed teachers to apply for their jobs and inform the public that we have until Friday, December 23rd, for the applications to get to us. This is a huge enrollment of teachers that has not been realized since 1997. Most of you will remember that before 1997, we used to have demand, supply-driven recruitment where TSC would recruit all teachers. Then recruitment was frozen, and from 1997, we started on demand-driven. And since then, we have never had such a huge enrollment of teachers. And we want to thank His Excellency, the President, Dr. William Ruto, for directing that we execute the exercise. On our part, we promise that the exercise will be carried out transparently and in line with the constitutional requirements of equity and meritocracy. I also assure the country that we are continuously applying all strategies to ensure prudent and optimal utilization of the existing teacher resource, both in our primary and post-primary institutions. And following the directive of His Excellency the President, that junior secondary school be domiciled in primary school, the TSC has moved quickly to develop guidelines on staff to handle the learners who will be joining grade 7. So apart from the 30,000 that we shall be employing, we shall also be developing guidelines on those others that we shall be deploying to help in that grade. These guidelines will be released to stakeholders in January. In the meantime, 30,550 new teacher recruits, that is 9,000 on permanent and pensionable terms, and 21,550 teacher interns will be posted to handle the JSS before the opening of next term. In addition, the Commission will mount a robust capacity building exercise for teachers to handle the JSS learners. I wish to reassure the country that retooling of the teachers will continue to cover all secondary school teachers and all those who will be joining the teaching service during the CBC implementation. As you are aware, we have already trained 60,000 teachers in the current secondary schools, and early next month we shall embark on the retooling of teachers who will handle JSS. Allow me once again during these examinations and wish everyone here a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you. And I now wish to invite our PS Value.
Asante sana Nancy. The Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, my colleague PS, and I will request PS Beatrice Manyala to stand so that we can acknowledge and appreciate her. Beatrice is our PS for higher education and research. Our chair of Senate Committee on Education, Honorable Nyotu, chair of council, and all other council members, the CEO Teacher Service Commission, other CEOs present, the Director General, senior government officials, head teachers present, our colleagues from our unions who are also present here today, members of the media, once again we acknowledge you are being here. I would want to take this opportunity to thank all of us and most sincerely thank our parents, our children, for the work that they have done throughout the year. But most importantly, I want to welcome all sector players who are here and thank you for the contribution that you have had in making sure that our children were able to successfully complete the examinations. I would also want to thank the multi-agency team that was driving this particular process, those who are visiting the containers, all those who were part of this particular process. I would want to say thank you very much. And on behalf of all of us parents, we will always be most honored and say thank you very much for the work that you have done for our children. I would also want to thank our teachers, mainly those who are examiners. And these are people who are extremely dedicated. They gave their all. On the Jamhuri Day, 12/12, while we were all celebrating the Jamhuri Day, these dedicated teachers were marking examinations. Now, some of us, we visited them with the Cabinet Secretary in the evening, and they showed a lot of dedication and love for our children. So let's appreciate them. Once again, I would want to assure all of us, as the Cabinet Secretary would say, my work is very simple because the chair of council has already talked on behalf of all of us as council members. Being a council member, what he has said is what we acknowledge and we all appreciate as council members. The remarks which were given by the CEO Teachers Service Commission captures all that we do in the sector, and therefore she has already talked about the teachers on behalf of all of us in the sector. And most importantly, my boss, the Cabinet Secretary, will now come and say more on the sector. So once again, I would want to make our commitment that we shall continue with 100% transition of our candidates who have done Kcpe. Already the CEO has captured the spirit of Kcpe. I would not want to go back there, but we are prepared for them as they transit to junior secondary in our primary schools as guided by the President. Finally, I would, before I give out my congratulations for the young ones and invite the Cabinet Secretary, I would want to take this opportunity to welcome the Senator from Murang'a, who is also our chair for Education Committee in Senate, to greet all of us and also convey his message to our candidate. Karibu, Mheshimiwa.
The CS education, PS, basic education, PS higher education, the chairman, NEC, the secretary, NEC, the representatives from trade unions, indeed, and all of us, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. So today I also join the rest of us in congratulating those that took Kcpe last month, and we believe that, like the PS basic education has said, that all of them will be placed into secondary schools of their choice, which is a big milestone in the education sector in this country. And I do not want to say much because this is not my day, but congratulations to all candidates, their parents, and thank you, KNEC, for the good job that you are doing. Merry Christmas to all of us and a Happy New Year 2023. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. I would also want to take this opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate our colleagues who are with us here. I want to pray that I'll be exhaustive enough. We have Julius Mukwe from the Ministry of Interior and National Administration. Thank you very much. We have our Assistant Inspector General of Police, Tipin Atiang. Thank you very much. We have Chair, the Kenya Primary School Aids Association, Bwana Nzioka, karibu sana. We have the Chair of the Kenya Private Schools Association, Bwana Ochomu. Ochomu, yes, thank you very much. We have the Chair, the Kenya National Union of Teachers, Bwana Munue. Munue is there. Thank you very much, Bwana Munue. We have the Secretary General of Kenya National Union of Teachers, Bwana Collins Oyu. Oyu is here. I see my brother has just arrived, Bwana Akelo Misori, the Secretary General for Kcpe, and maybe with any other of your members who may have accompanied you. And our good friends from the fourth estate, the media, thank you very much for having come here. You know, all would not be there without you. You are able to beam to our parents and all other stakeholders this particular engagement. I would not want to say anything beyond that. I know our young ones are waiting for their results. So I would want to wish all of us a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And it's now my singular duty to invite the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, to come and do that which he must do for this country. Karibu Waziri.
Thank you. Please be seated. Yeah, thank you very much. Principal Secretary is present. The Minister of Education, Dr. Perio Kipsang, and Dr. Beatrice Nyangara, Chairman of the Education Committee of the Senate, Honorable Nyuchu, Chairperson, Kenya National Examination Council, Professor Churias Nyabundi, Chief Executive Officer, Teacher Service Commission, Dr. Nancy Macharia, Chief Executive Officer, Kenya National Examination Council, Dr. David Njangere, KNEC Council members, senior officers from the Ministry of Education, represented here, representatives from the teachers' unions, KNEC, we have the chairman. Thank you, Chairman Munue. Secretary General, Collins, thank you. The chair, Kcpe is also here. Charles Ochome, thank you, welcome. Kcpe Chairman, Johnson Inshoka, thank you. And officers from the Ministry of Interior, Julius Mukwe, the Assistant Inspector, members of the Fourth Estate, welcome. I am today standing before you to make perhaps my most significant address to the nation since His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, appointed me Cabinet Secretary for Education nearly 2 months ago. Over these 2 months, I've taken time to personally consult widely over the status of our education sector, which is arguably one that attracts interest from every household. For in every home, there is a child. More importantly, my appointment immediately tribute the deep of the sector with the national examination season ranking and the need to clear the matter that was the grade 6 cohorts transition to junior secondary school under the competence-based curriculum. By good fortune, the head of state, in keeping with his promise as outlined in the education charter of Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, stepped in with a brilliant decision to appoint the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms. By dint of the team's preliminary report, the President has already directed that the junior secondary school be domiciled in the existing primary schools. What did this masterstroke decision of President mean? It means that parents will now not lose sleep over finding grade 7 places in secondary schools, which could have become their worst headache ever had the President not saved the situation. Secondly, domiciling the junior secondary within the budget. Lastly, it means that the newly constructed classes in secondary schools that were initially meant for the junior secondary school level are now available to ease our strained infrastructure in the secondary schools. We therefore expect to have a relatively peaceful path to the achievement of the 100% transition policy of government during the Form 1 admission next year. Amid the smooth administration of the national examinations for 2022, I have, together with my top administration, subjected the sector into a quick baseline analysis with a view to finding an anchor upon which the new government can roll in its interventions. Based on this analysis, we have realized that for us to raise the sector performance a notch higher, we must anchor our management on the following. 1. Robust stakeholder consultations. As a ministry and working with the key agencies, we will work together with all sector players while embracing regular consultations and public participation in line with our constitution. In this, we will take a cue from the example already set through the Presidential Working Party on education reforms, which has combed every part of our country to correct the views from all Kenyans. 2. Ensuring staff and technical officers work with the formidable teamwork. We will redouble our efforts to motivate our staff at the Ministry of Education for them to deliver service to Kenyans in one spirit. I promise to work with all stakeholders to ensure staff deployments, recognition and promotions are strictly based on merit and are carried out in strict conformity with Chapter 10 on values and principles of the Constitution. I am arrived at the fact that regardless of how smart our policies will be, they will always be doomed to failure unless our implementing staff are motivated to work well, since they sit at the execution desk and close at the consumers of our services. 3. Focused reform of policies and regulations. We are looking at the Presidential Working Party to make recommendations about laws, policies, and regulations in our sector. We have seen a number of attempts to amend some of the existing laws, policies, and regulations, a few of which are currently pending before the National Assembly. Under my stewardship of the sector, we will carefully consult with all stakeholders with a view to driving the reform processes to a decisive and logical conclusion based on the recommendations of the Working Party. We will appeal on the respective committees of the National Assembly and the Senate to be patient with us as we will regularly knock on their doors as we seek these legal and policy reforms. Inevitably, many of the expected reforms will stem from the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party when it completes its work early next year. This being my inaugural function for the release of Kcpe examination results, I feel ready that we have successfully administered 2 national examinations concurrently at the primary school level, and the results for the Kcpe examinations are ready within a period of 20 days. I wish to thank His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for his leadership and support during the conduct of the 2022 Kcpe examinations. The President led the multi-agency team and the Cabinet Secretaries in monitoring of the administration of Kcpe examination, where they visited examination centers and exhibited support for the candidates. My Cabinet colleagues praised the morning code to be at the examination containers in solidarity with the contracted personnel, approved that the current administration is determined to maintain a credible national examinations. I also thank our teachers for their instrumental role in the preparation of candidates and the participation in the administration of the 2022 Kcpe examination. I applaud the center managers, supervisors, invigilators, examiners, sub-count directors of education, deputy county commissioners, and security officers who played exemplary roles in helping us deliver a credible examination. In his recent directive on the domiciling of grade 6, 7, and 8, His Excellency President William Ruto ordered the Ministry of Education to provide further guidelines on the transition. Following this directive, I formed a multi-agency committee to draft the guidelines that will guide the transition. Specifically, the committee is expected to draft the guidelines that will effectively ensure a seamless transition from primary school grade 6 to junior secondary school, facilitate effective leadership and management of junior secondary school, promote consistency in the implementation of the junior secondary school curriculum, including teaching and learning and assessment, ensure the provision of adequate, appropriate, and safe physical infrastructure and a runner-friendly environment for all runners, including those with special needs and disabilities. Ensure the provision of adequate and well-prepared human resources to facilitate curriculum delivery for junior secondary school. Finally, outline the roles and the responsibilities of key stakeholders in the implementation of the various components of junior secondary school. I expect to hold a meeting with all stakeholders in January 3rd, 2023 to consider and release the guidelines so they can provide a roadmap to all players as they prepare for the junior secondary school. Already the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development has released the grade 7 curriculum designs and instructional materials for use at the junior secondary school level. Arising from the Presidential Directive and cascaded to the Kenya National Examination Council, by myself, the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment will not be used for placement of the runners in a junior secondary school. The Kcpe report will however, I have directed the Kenya National Examination Council to upload the report of the assessment on the school portals in January 2023 to enable schools to develop strategies of further learning and teaching. As is the government tradition, all the candidates whose results I'm releasing today will be admitted to Form 1 under the 100% transition policy. There should be no case of any parent or guardian keeping their children at home when admission to Form 1 are opened up, as this is against the constitutional requirement. Since the country experienced the COVID-19 pandemic, which occasioned a prolonged close of schools, the government has been running a heavily constricted and reorganized school calendar in a spirited attempt to restore the normal term dates. This reorganization of school term dates has come at a heavy cost to parents in terms of pressure to clear school fees within short intervals, teachers having heavy workloads, while runners have had to cover more content within extremely short time. I wish to particularly single out the 2022 Kcpe cohort, whose examination results we are releasing today. When COVID-19 hit our country in March 2020, The cohort was in Standard 6 and only resumed their classes upon the full reopening of schools in January 2021. Between January 2021 and November 2022, just 23 months, this cohort has managed to cover 3 school calendar years. This is astonishingly incredible. In fact, the cohort covered their grade 8 school calendar in just 6 months, having joined in June 2022. In between, the country went into a general election that also occasioned an unnecessarily long half-term break, besides the confusion and anxiety associated with such a national exercise. Please join me in celebrating our 2022 cohort of Kcpe, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to thank all the stakeholders, especially parents and teachers, for withstanding the financial and the teaching pressures, respectively. They came with their shorter school terms as forced upon us by the COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks to all your concerted efforts, we will from January 2023 revert to our normal school calendar. The Ministry is determined to place the 2022 Kcpe candidates in secondary schools as soon as possible to give parents adequate time to prepare them for their admission to Form 1. The actual Form 1 selection exercise for all categories of schools will be concluded on January 16, 2023. A total of 1,233,852 candidates sat their 2022 Kcpe examination in 28,408 centers across the country. These candidates will be allowed to start their secondary school journey as they have all qualified to be admitted to Form 1. Congratulations to the class of 2022 for your spirited academic campaign that defied the triple challenge of a general election, COVID-19, and shortened school calendars. Of these candidates, 620,965, that is 50.32%, were boys, while 612,887, meaning 49.67%, were girls, a clear indication that our country has achieved gender parity at the primary school level. In the 2021 Kcpe, 1,214,031 candidates sat their examination. According to the data, 4 counties. On the other hand, Marsabit, Isiolo, and Meru had a significant entry of more female than male candidates in the examination. The number of candidates who sat the examination in hospitals in 2022 was 147, compared with 166 in 2021. All these candidates will also progress to Form 1. The number of registered candidates who were 12 years and below declined from 33,627, meaning 2.74%, in 2021 to 31,494, meaning 2.53% in 2022, indicating that parents and schools are on the right path of enrolling children in school at the right age. The counties which had the highest percentage entry for candidates who were 12 years and below for the year 2022 Kcpe examination were Baringo, Wajir, Kericho, Bomet, and West Pokot. The highest number of candidates were in the appropriate age bracket of 13 to 15 years, were 885,162, meaning 71.13%, a trend that has been replicated in the last 5 years. The counties which had the highest percentage of candidates who were 18 years and above were Garissa, Turkana, Kilifi, Kware, and Mandera. In the 2022 Kcpe examination, overall performance improved compared to 2021, despite the difficult situation that faced this cohort of candidates. The mark of the highest candidate rose 4 points from 428 in 2021 to 431 in 2022. Another positive indicator of better performance by the candidates was in the mean average performance. The data analysis shows that more than half of all the candidates who sat the examination, that is 619,583, or 50.22%, scored between 200 and 299 marks, as compared with 578,106, or 47.17%, who scored between the same marks in 2021. We are therefore very impressed with the Kcpe examination class of 2022 for performing very well and raising the standards of the main. Examination, that number has gone down to only 724 in the year 2022 examination, despite the rise in overall candidature in the 2 years. This was an indicator that most candidates scored better grades than the previous year. In particular, I am impressed that 9 candidates with special needs scored 400 marks and above, compared with only 2 in 2021. The first candidate with special needs scored 419 marks more than the top candidate in 2022, who scored in 2021. Overall, we have been impressed that 4 papers recorded an improvement in performance in the year 2022 when compared to 2021. These are English language, Kiswahili Lugha, Kiswahili Insa, and Kenyan Sign Language. However, 6 papers, English composition, Kenya Sign Language composition, mathematics, science, social studies, and religious education, recorded a drop in performance in 2022 compared with 2021. Female candidates performed better than their male counterparts in English language, Kiswahili, and Kenya Sign Language. Male candidates performed better than their female counterparts in mathematics, science, and social studies, and religious education. I wish to direct the quality assurance and standards to find ways of addressing the gaps that might be causing the performance of each agenda, as there seems to be a pattern where girls beat boys in specific subjects each year, and vice versa. Nonetheless, I thank the teachers, parents, and candidates for achieving this astounding performance as the country emerges from the COVID-19 and the effects of the general election. The summary of grades is as follows. Mark range between 400 and 500. We had 9,443, and as I've said, the best score was 431, which makes 0.77 when we come to percentage. Mark between 300 and 399, we had 307,756, making it 24.94%. Between 200 and 299, we had a total of 619,593 candidates, making it 50.22%. Those who scored between 100 and 199 were 296,336, making it 24.2%. Those who scored between 1 and 99 were 724, making it 0.06%. The total number that sat the examination were 1,233,852, making it a percentage of 99.16%. The overall performance for special needs candidates is as follows. Those who scored between 400 and 500 were 7, meaning this was 0.29%. Those who scored between 300 and 399 were 296 candidates, making it 12.25%. Those who scored between 200 and 299 were 838, making it 34.67%. Those who scored between 100 and 199 were 1,270, making it 52.54%. Those who scored between 1 and 99 were 6, making it 0.25%. The total number of candidates in this category that sat the exam were 2,417, making it a total percentage of 98.01%. The combined efforts of the multi-agency examination team of the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Interior, Teacher Service Commission, National Administration, ICT, and Digital Economy helped to ensure that the 2022 Kcpe examination was free of malpractices. Overall, there were only 252 candidates in 9 examination centers who were found to have engaged in malpractices. These candidates have been scored 0 in the subjects where they engaged in such malpractices. Nonetheless, the affected candidates' overall mark will be computed as the mark awarded in the affected subject. The candidates will receive their examination results and will transition to secondary school. This is in the spirit of the 100% transition policy. As is our tradition, the Kcpe examination results will be corrected by respective schools from the sub-county examination centers, education centers. Candidates should therefore correct their results from their respective examination centers. Individual candidates' results can also be accessed by sending a candidate's index number followed by the initials Kcpe through a short message service SMS to 20076. 20076. The candidate's index number plus the initials Kcpe and then the number 20076. This service will be available immediately after this event. Head teachers will be required to download and print the online research slips for candidates in their schools and authenticate the same before they are released to parents, guardians, and candidates. It is now my great pleasure to declare the 2022 Kcpe examination results officially released. I wish all the candidates and indeed all the stakeholders in the education sector a Merry Christmas and a happy, prosperous New Year 2023. Thank you very much.
We now move to the official release of the Kcpe results. Asante sana. So some may be asking how we can receive the gift. The 2022 Kcpe examination results is the Christmas gift, and this is how you receive the gift. You send an SMS to 20076. The SMS should be full index number of the candidate followed by Kcpe. Full index number, Kcpe, then you send to 20076. The Christmas gift will be ready if you use that approach. I now wish to invite the Director EA to make a few announcements and move a vote of thanks before I request Joseph Githinji to offer the closing prayer.
Thank you very much, our Master of Ceremony, our CSR, and all invited guests. Allow me to take this humble duty of moving a vote of thanks on behalf of Kenya National Examinations Council. Sir, we have all been looking forward to the release of the Kcpe results 2022, and we want to take this chance to thank God for the good health that we have had and for the good opportunity that we have been given as Kenyans. I want to start off by thanking the Kenya National Examination staff for the tireless efforts that you have put in, the extra hours that you have burned the midnight oil. Allow me, sir, to also appreciate the presence of the directors from the Ministry of Education under the leadership of the Director General, and also the invited guests from the Ministry of Interior under GAO and Internal Security. Allow me, sir, also to appreciate the presence of the National Youth Service. They're also in our midst. On behalf of the Director General, we appreciate the support they have given to Kenya National Examinations Council. Given the fact that we are only 436 staff, sir, alone will not manage to deliver this mandate, and therefore the support we have received from NYS is enormous. Can we give them a round of applause? So I want to appreciate the presence of the Kenya Private Schools Association, Kcpe officials, and the union officials. We appreciate the support you've given in the field and gracing this occasion today. I would further want to appreciate the union officials present here today. We appreciate also your presence in this release of results. It would go bad if I don't mention the support you've received from our council members under the leadership of our chairman. We really, really appreciate the support we've received, and we want to say thank you very much for finding time in your busy schedule to come and join us in the release of results. Sir, I'm humbled to also appreciate the presence of the PS Higher Education, Dr. Beatrice Nyangala. On a light note, we come from the same place and we went to the same primary school. Thank you, Daktari, for gracing this occasion. Allow me to appreciate our PS of State Department of Basic Education. Sir, welcome back, and we want to say we enjoyed your presence even during the marking exercise and the administration exercises. You gave us the support in the field. I would want to appreciate the presence of the CEO, Teacher Service Commission, Dr. Nancy Macharia, for the support you've given. KNEC alone would not do it without the support of the teachers, as already mentioned by our speakers. Madam, we are very grateful, and we are always indebted to the Teacher Service Commission. Even when we give you a short notice, you've always released the teachers with gratitude. We want to say thank you so much. I would want to mention that, sir, we are today indeed very grateful for the presence of the chairman of the Committee on Education from Senate, Honorable Nyutu. Sir, thank you for coming, and thank you for gracing this occasion. Without forgetting to mention the media. I know they were here pretty early, and like you've always done, you've always given us leadership and given us guidance to enable you cover this function for all the Kenyans. We are indeed very grateful, and thank you also for gracing this occasion. I'd want to mention our CEO, Dr. David Jengere. Sir, thank you for the stewardship and leadership that you've given to all of us. And finally, sir, I want to appreciate you. We have interacted with you right from the launch of these examinations. We interacted with you at the container to oversee the administration. I would want to say partly you also became the direct examination administration. We have also interacted with you at the marking centers, and even late in the night, you are checking on us and just finding out how far we are with our PS. I want to say thank you so much for the leadership you've given, and thank you so much for the guidance that you continue to give. At this point, sir, I'd want to announce that we would have refreshments, and all of us will be given guidance by our ushers. They will be showing us the direction of wherever we'll be going to. With that, I want to say thank you so much, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Imelda Baraza. A small change, I'm told the closing prayer will be offered by Pastor and Penguin, Jacob Omulo.
Shall we stand for a word of prayer? Indeed, God, we are most grateful that you've brought us to the end of this. It has been a long journey, and we owe it to you. And so we pray that as we break, you who sees even to the innermost of our hearts will bless us, and that the season of Christmas will bring hope and assurance to each and every family. We pray for the leadership of this country. We pray for the leadership of the Kenya National Examinations Council, that you will enable us to proceed in recognition of the fact that we are because of you. And so we pray that you'll be with us as we travel home, and that you'll be with each and every family that's represented here, and each and every family of this country. Be exalted, be lifted up, because we prayed, believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Asanteni sana na mbarikiwe. Thank you so much.